Hi, thank you so much for joining my live. I'm Gabriela. I'm here with the Guilt Free Agency, a brand agency for rebel brands. Cool. So before we get started, just want to make sure that if you have any questions, please be sure to drop them in the comments and I'll go through as many as I can. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about building an inclusive leadership team because that's what's going to help you future proof your brand. All right. Today's going to be a quick one, though. I'm going to be honest. I fell on some ice this week and I'm still healing, so sitting on my work chair kind of hurts. So we're just gonna kind of go through this as quick as possible. If you are catching the replay, still be sure to drop your comments and I will be happy to answer them throughout, when they get answered. So or when they get questioned. So all right. So things to keep in mind when you're hiring that diverse leadership team. So that does include people from disabled communities, people of color from different cultures, and the LGBT plus community, and others who don't necessarily have the same opportunity to fulfill their roles as leaders because they didn't fit, maybe Eurocentric societal expectations or capitalist societal expectations. So this can help create an environment for solving problems within your organization and making decisions that are more likely to revolutionize your business. So what that basically means is you want to hire obviously people from with different backgrounds, both economically and then the way that they interact with society as well. Okay, because that's going to bring a variety of tools and resources, ideas, and all that kind of stuff to really help you build up that team. All right. So, but building a diverse leadership team isn't just good for your internal operations. It's also good for you to have a positive impact on your brand. So it can better help you understand like how to connect with a diverse customer base and also improve your brand's reputation and credibility. So this goes back to, you know, I say a line similar to this on my website, like, you're not just using buzzwords and, to look like you're doing the work, but you're actually doing the work, and that's where, building this diverse leadership team really comes into play here because, it helps like, okay, I'm not just saying that I'm about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm actually putting it into play. I'm actually hiring this diverse leadership team and all that kinda stuff, and now one of the biggest pushbacks that, you know, um, that I've heard as a Latina is that, oh well, you know, maybe people from those communities aren't qualified, and that is not true at all. I bet you anything, people from often disadvantaged communities work 10 times harder, so they build a lot of knowledge and all that kind of stuff to um, bring in more for a diverse leadership team and can really help you like really truly problem solve and get some really good ideas going. Okay. So this isn't to say that, people that are often hired are not um good leaders, you know what I mean? But there's really so much more that comes with a diverse team because you do get those ideas, those different ideas and all that kind of stuff. And there are those people that really do go above and beyond just because they do have more to prove in society. So I'm not saying like take advantage of people because that can also be very easily done, which I'll kind of discuss like how you can avoid doing stuff like that later on in the video today. But yeah, so just keep those things in mind. Um your biases in mind when you're kind of going through and to hire someone. Like if you start thinking like that, that's a red flag to yourself and be like, it's not okay that I'm thinking this way, and I need to reevaluate myself, right? Okay. So just a quick reminder, if you are here live with me today or you're catching the replay, please drop your questions in the comments and I'll be sure to answer again as many as I can after my short little educational rant here. All right. So the inclusive leadership team, if you're not sure where to look, where to start this journey or where maybe you're not at a point where you need to hire a leadership team, you're just starting off, like, hiring a team. Um, so then just kind of reevaluate, like, look at who you have already on your team, and if you do already have a diverse team, then you need to start listening to them, the good and the bad, right? So the bad is really just an opportunity for you to learn and grow as a business. It's not necessarily, like, they're not trying to put down your business. If they're bringing up the bad, it's because they want to see your business, succeed. Um, and they're like, "Hey, these are some things that I noticed that need to change." And then you listen and do, you put in the effort to change those things. That's what's gonna help you start to prop up that the voices of the diverse people that you've hired, right? Mm, okay, and then again, just bringing back addressing your own biases. So your diverse team is not responsible for that. Okay. So, as a Latina, as a mom, as someone that's struggling with health issues, I I do still struggle sometimes with, like, standing up for myself, I'm gonna be totally honest, right? So, I kind of take, like, that customer service approach where I try to make it sound like it's their idea sometimes, you know, and I'm starting to realize for me that's not okay, right? So and that's my personal take, and I know there are other people, people of color, people in disadvantaged communities that kind of feel that way as well. Now are more and more of us that are, like, standing up for themselves and all that, and I freaking love that, and honestly, that's so motivating for me. But that is not the case for everyone. So, even me being Latina, and um being, uh, having, like, health issues and all that kinda stuff. I still have my own biases, right? And I'm like, the founder of the Guilt Free Agency, so then, as I start to build my team, I need to make sure that I'm addressing my own biases, and that is not their responsibility to call me out because that's also very taxing, right? So standing up for yourself is so, so taxing on on our mental health, right? So you as the leader are responsible for identifying and addressing your own biases. And it's up to you and possibly a therapist or an anti-racism coach or maybe even a decolonization coach to help you, through that, but it's your responsibility to go out there and seek that help. It's your responsibility to go out there and seek the therapist, to seek the anti-racism coach, to seek the decolonization coach, to put in the work to identify and address your biases, right? If you put that responsibility on your team, it's only going to be a matter of time. Sorry, I actually realized I forgot to turn on my lights. Let's do that. Okay. So, as if you start to put that responsibility on your team, it's only a matter of time before they start to leave. Because it is, again, it's taxing to constantly have to stand up for yourself. It's so taxing. And if they feel like they are the ones that constantly have to do that for you, they're going to start to leave. I know I've left jobs for that reason. I'm like, I can't take any more of this. I didn't want to be in a position where I had to stand up for myself and feel like I was arguing with someone about my own worth that I knew I had. And so I just left. And talking to coworkers, talking all that kind of stuff, there are other people that felt that way 9 out of 10 times. And it was only a matter of time before everyone else started to leave. Or I was following suit because I saw other people leave and I was like, dang, this is a sign that I should leave too. Right. So again, don't put this responsibility on your team. It's not their responsibility to have to stand up for themselves when you are saying things that are maybe a bit out of line here. So address your biases, don't put it on your team, because if you do, it's gonna only be a matter of time before they start to leave. Now, the other big thing is avoid tokenizing sorry, I don't know where that little accent came from. Avoid tokenizing them, and avoid any form of, like, aggression towards them, and that includes, like, any micro or macro aggressions, and respect their boundaries, okay? And this goes for just anyone on your team. Not just your leadership team. This goes for, like, all your freelancers, contractors, employees, all that kind of stuff. When they set those boundaries, we as leaders need to respect those boundaries. The manager, the team, the leaders that we hire need to respect those boundaries, and it needs to be very clear from the start. Maybe even putting that as part of like your company policy, putting that into all that kind of into your values, like your internal business values. So respecting those boundaries. And then the other thing is like assigning work to their area of expertise, not necessarily to do your organization's DEI work, unless that is actually their area of expertise. Okay. I can't tell you how many times like I've gotten to know, like other people of color that are working in uh in the corporate space, and then they're just like, "Yeah, I don't know anything about DEI, but I'm now the head of the DEI at this small organization and I don't even know where to start." That's them telling you that you need to do the work to hire someone that actually knows about the DEI work, right? Yeah, even if we're going to therapy, even if we're doing the anti-racism coach and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't replace the actual knowledge from a professional in that field. Someone that actually knows what they're doing around that space, okay? So, don't just hire someone who's from one of those, disadvantaged communities, right, to do your DEI work because that doesn't mean they're knowledgeable in it. You need to hire someone that's actually their area of expertise, and there are plenty of experts that are so incredibly knowledgeable that can help you with that. Okay, so and you don't need to hire, just the typical, um, you know, the typical white man to come in and do this. Or, you know, the next the next uh the next option for that typically that we see in corporate America is, a white woman. But, you know, a lot of times they don't necessarily understand it from a personal experience. So just because they have the education to do it doesn't mean they've lived through it. So hiring someone that lived through it to do that and also has the expertise is not hard to find. It's really not. And if you do have someone that's actually, has a diverse background from what we typically see in corporate America, then that's already setting you up for success for the future of your brand because they are more likely to take into consideration when people from your teams come in and say like, "Hey, this and this and this is happening," they're more likely to take that seriously because they've lived through it, right? Right. And so then the next thing here is creating processes with accommodations already built in, such as workflows, reminders, and meetings. So um, I think Zoom has auto captioning. I'm not sure if Google Meets does, but just like places like that, if you're doing virtual meetings, make sure you have like auto captioning and stuff like that. Have a plan in place where if you do hire someone from like the deaf community, maybe you could have like an ASL or start having your company take some ASL so they can start, so having a budget for that is more, I guess what I'm trying to say is like having a budget for those accommodations that may need to be met. And so like again, going back to the deaf community example, if you hire someone from the deaf community, then it's in your company's best interest to make them feel included and appreciated. So maybe having some of your team members, and especially those that are working closely with that person, learning ASL or whatever sign language that is prominent in your area, so that they can communicate and feel like they're a part of a community, right? So that's going to be another step in making sure that you keep the diverse team members and leaders that you hire, right? Is making sure that you budget for accommodations, um, and you budget for time that it may take to rework some workflows and stuff like that. But I guarantee, like, it's going to be 100% worth it if you do things like that because it's going to build a a really amazing community within your company, where people feel like they are valued, that they can give their true and honest opinions to build real solutions for you, real out of this world client experiences for you, for your company. So it's a 100% worth it if you take the time to do things like this and if you take the time to do things right. Okay. So, and this is just about having like the basic human decency, really. So, keep that in mind. Like, these are just the things that it takes to be a decent human being, really. Okay. And everyone starts somewhere. I'm not saying you have to do like all these things right now, right? Okay. Um, because addressing your own biases can be really difficult and taxing on like your mental health too. That's not an excuse to not do it. But you need to make sure like you're doing it in a way that's not overwhelming and making you want to quit. Okay. So just make sure you're doing it in a way with hopefully with a therapist, with someone that, has not just any therapist, with a therapist that has experience in helping people with this too. So just keep that in mind so that way you have a good process, you have good coping mechanisms, you're not falling back into old habits easily and all that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so now we're going to get into another example here, okay? So for example, there's an office party, right? And there are some coworkers that are like easily overstimulated. But you invite them and so maybe like consider inviting them like at the beginning when there aren't too many people. And also don't make them feel like they're forced or required to participate. Like maybe they just want to, you know, graze the snack table or eat some food and stand there and just like observe everyone. And that makes them feel included, right? So don't make them feel like they are required to actively engage in conversations and all that kind of stuff, right? But still make it very, very clear that they are um invited to join, that you want them to join. Because, a lot of neurodivergent people, they need to hear it like straight on. Like, okay, yeah, like, I want you to come to the office party. I know overstimulation is a concern for you. So we'd like for you to come, even if it's just for 5 minutes. We are happy to turn down the music, to do whatever to so that you can participate and join us for a little bit, right? And that makes them feel appreciated. And then just making sure that they know that they can leave whenever they start or whenever they are ready. Not even when they start feeling overstimulated, but whenever they feel ready to leave. That can be whenever they want, right? So those are just like another example of how you can kind of do stuff like that, right? Okay, so quick recap. If you want to build an organization that's future resistant, start hiring a diverse team of people from different backgrounds. So, disabled communities, different BIPOC cultures, LGBT plus community, and so on. Okay, so hiring a diverse leadership team can help you better understand and connect with your diverse customer base. And it can also improve your brand's reputation and credibility. I 100% guarantee you that there is a role in your organization in which you can hire a true expert that can help bring different ideas and solutions to the table from one of those communities. Okay. Don't use them to overcome your own biases. That is work that should be done on your own with the help of someone that is trained, okay, in that kind of field, right? So, a therapist that has experience in anti-racism, decolonization work, a coach that has experience with the help of a therapist, that kind of a stuff, all right? Have them help with work that's in their area of expertise. Again, just because they're BIPOC or disabled or in any of those communities does not mean they are a diversity, inclusion, or a diversity, equity, and inclusion specialist. Okay. So, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. If you want to stay in the loop with all things Rebel brand building, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and drop any of your questions in the comments. Even if you are catching the replay, happy to answer them. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you next week.